Alright, hello and welcome to lesson 46. Sorry about this being a little bit belated. I didn't get a chance to upload this last weekend. Um, if you weren't in class, I'm going to walk you through what we did in class. Thanks again for watching this and for keeping up with your work. We have a couple weeks left of full NTI and we'll be going back to hybrid after spring break. So we'll be talking more about that as we get closer to it as well. Today we're going to look a little bit about the upcoming essay number 3 peer review assignment, a self-defense project that I'm excited about, and we're going to look at a poem by Amanda Gorman and a TED Talk by George Takei. All right, our upcoming assignments for this week, the week of March 8th. The only assignment that is due in the gradebook and is required is in green. It is voice and choice number 4. It's due by the end of the day on Friday. Please do be making those recordings if at all possible, because those are going to become more important and useful as we get closer to the end of the year. Essay number 3, peer review, is due next Friday, the 19th, and the final draft will be due the Friday after that on the 26th, right before spring break. So the final draft for essay number 3 due right before spring break. I'm going to use spring break to be doing the grading for the final draft for essay number 3. And if you can turn yours in by the 28th, that would be awesome, because I will be grading kind of as I get a chance during the break. All right, let's take a look at our learning targets for today. For writing, we're going to outline the remaining essay number 3 pieces, as well as the parts of essay number 4 and the final project for this course. This means you can defend your work this year, as well as humanize your experiences and beliefs in a backpack project. You also have the voice and choice assignment that's due this Friday, which is a writing prompt, speaking prompt. For literature, we're going to consider a poem presented at the presidential inauguration and in response to the events of the insurrection on January 6th. This means you can discuss this poem through a lens of humanizing language. And for our informational lesson, we're going to consider a TED Talk on dehumanization in American history and the impact it had on an individual and a group. Our week structure is as usual. Monday, Tuesday recorded lesson. I'm late this week recording this one, and a Thursday, Friday recorded lesson, with office hours from 10 to 10:45 and 12 to 2:30 on Wednesdays. Voice and choice number 4, which is due this Friday. The voice prompt is, what is one thing you wish people understood about you? And you're going to be recording your response to that using the Vocaroo website. And the 10 paths have been updated with new questions from voice and choice number 3. So find your path and pick your question and respond to that prompt. If none of these prompts are interesting to you, you can always choose to talk about something else. But hopefully you can find something in here that piques your fancy and that you are interested to discuss. All right, we're going to talk now a little bit about how the essay number 3 is going to be ending, what essay 4 is going to be about, and the last project for this class. So essay number 3 peer review, like I said, is due next Friday on the 19th. That is only a Google form in Google Classroom. You can use me for feedback, or a friend or family member or another teacher. And all you need to do is, as soon as you turn in that rough draft, go ahead and click on the peer review assignment. It's 50 points for a Google form. It's a super quick assignment. And really all it's asking you to do is to reflect a little bit on any feedback you've gotten on your rough draft. For essay number 3 final draft, that's due the week before spring break on the 26th. You're going to score higher on that final draft if you use my feedback on your rough draft. You're going to score higher on that final draft also if you use the outlines assignment. So if you did the outline, if you did the rough draft, if you did the peer review and you got some feedback on it, you're more likely to score in a 3 or 4 range on that final draft. And if you don't score in a 3 or 4 on any part of the final draft, I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do to score a 3 or 4 and to increase that point, so you can do that and resubmit your final draft. So it's not set in stone until the end of the semester. You can always resubmit your final draft and improve that score. All right, we're going to start Essay 4 in late April actually. Essay 4 is going to be on the topic of how will today affect tomorrow. You're going to be able to choose any topic that interests you and aligns with one of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals toward a better world by 2030. We're going to be talking a lot about those goals in class as we come back into the building. So we're going to use those goals as a guide. You're going to argue for a change you think would legitimately make the world a better place. Unlike Unit 3, I won't be providing you with sources for this essay. You're going to find your own credible sources through research, and that's something you're going to do frequently in college. So this one is your own research essay. I'm not going to provide texts beyond the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goal text that you're going to use to help figure out what you want to talk about. I will help you research, but I won't find all of them for you. The Essay 4 timeline is important information and it's kind of interesting. So the outline for Essay 4 won't be due until the 23rd of April. That feels late, and that is a little bit late, but I want to take some space to get used to the new schedule, the new hybrid schedule after we get back. So I'm not going to dump a bunch of big assignments on you right when we return. I'm going to release this outline probably at the end of spring break or right before we come back, but it won't be due until the 23rd. So there'll be a lot of space to get used to the new systems, to get used to the new structure in person before I start having things come due in the grade book. That just feels only fair because we're asking you to do a pretty big transition, and I want to give you some space to get used to that. The rough draft's going to be due on the 30th, the week after the outline. The peer review is going to be due on the 7th, the week after that, and the final draft is going to be due the week after that. It's a 4-week essay, which is pretty condensed, but because we've had the entire year to practice this format, outline, rough draft, peer review, and final draft, I feel comfortable working through this essay in 4 weeks with you because we've spent the entire year practicing this system. Also, if you're an A2C student and you're getting dual credit, all of your essays need to be uploaded to JCTC by May the 21st. So just FYI, that's kind of the final due date for uploading your JCTC essays. Okay, we're going to change gears real quick, and we're going to talk about the final project for this class. This is separate from essay number 4. This is a meta project. We're going to be looking at a couple different things that you've done. So it has to do with dehumanizing language. Dehumanization is a process, and Michelle Mays, who's the chair of the philosophy department at Emmanuel College, describes it as the psychological process of demonizing the enemy, making them seem less than human and hence not worthy of humane treatment. Dehumanizing often starts with creating an enemy image. As we take sides, we lose trust and get angrier and angrier. We not only solidify an idea of our enemy, but also start to lose our ability to listen, communicate, and practice even a modicum of empathy. So what could humanizing language sound like? Most of the discussion on what humanizing language is focused on people who have been recently incarcerated or in prison. There's not a lot of discussion of humanizing language outside of prison and incarceration. So I kind of want us to think with our last project, how can we oppose dehumanizing language with humanizing language in non-prison environments? So how can we use humanizing language outside of the context of prisons? So just to kind of go a little bit deeper than that. So if dehumanizing language seeks to demonize the other, make them less human, and create an image that separates, humanizing language must then sell the humanity of the individual, celebrate their complexity, and create an image that invites dialogue and camaraderie. So humanizing language needs to sell a person as a complex individual, as complex as the audience. All right, that brings us to our final project for the 2020-2021 school year, a self-defense project. So as a senior, you're going to do a backpack defense. I want you to think of this as a self-defense project. The work of this project is already done for the most part. Your job is going to be to collect 3 artifacts together in a slide deck format that I'm going to provide, and then submit that artifact to your backpack, your digital backpack. What you're going to do is you're going to choose one of the 4 essays that you wrote this year to record yourself reading. All the 4 of those essays are very personal. The first one was the This I Believe essay. The second one was your future goals, your college and career goals. The third one's your beliefs about moral codes, right and wrong, and where that comes from. And the fourth one that we're going to begin working on after spring break is what you hope for the future of our world. So you're going to choose one of those 4 essays to read out loud and record. You're also going to choose 2 or more audio clips from your voice and choice recordings. You'll need at least 1 clip that represents your values and at least 1 clip that represents your interests. So you're going to have 3 clips minimum the recording of your essay, a value clip, and an interest clip. That's it. For this assignment, what you're going to be doing is you're going to put those together and you're going to write something about who you are, and you're going to do a short defense of yourself through these three artifacts. I will be awarding belts to students who complete this project, so you can get a white belt in self-defense for English 3 this year. I'll have those belts ready for you to pick up at school as you're completing this project. I'm going to post this project after spring break, so you can begin working on it as early as April. All right, that's all the information I have for the writing lesson today. Let's take a moment and look at our literature learning target. So we're going to look at a poem, and we're going to have a discussion of that poem in class. The poem that we looked at in class was The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. This poem was written on, or finished being written on January 7th, 2021, the day after the insurrection at the Capitol, just for some context. Gorman presented this poem at the inauguration of the current president, and it was a pretty intense moment, and it was a pretty amazing poem for the moment. So while we listen to and read this poem, I had 4 questions for you to consider. These are also part of the assignment that's being posted on Thursday and Friday. It is the Humanizing Language assignment number 1. So how does Amanda Gorman celebrate the country? What about this poem is hopeful? How does this poem recognize struggle in U.S. history, and what is the effect of the repetition of the final 2 lines of the poem? So to complete that assignment, you're going to need to answer 5 questions total for the 4 documents that are in that assignment. So that'll make more sense on Thursday and Friday when we walk through that document too. All right, that's the literature lesson, is watching that poem. And for the informational lesson, we're going to watch a TED Talk and have some questions on that TED Talk as well. And we're going to be looking at both of these things and ultimately all 4 of these texts through this lens of humanizing language. The TED Talk is by George Takei, and it is on his experience as a kid in the Japanese internment camps following World War II. So the questions are, how does Takei represent his own history? How does Takei present the history of Japanese internment camps? How did Takei's age at the time change the way he viewed his internment? And what was the impact of the term enemy non-alien on Japanese Americans? And who were the 442nd Infantry Regiment, and what was historic about their actions? So there are 5 questions for this one. And again, for that assignment that I'll be posting on Thursday and Friday for next week, you really only need to answer 5 of those questions total from all 4 of those recordings. So that'll make more sense again on Thursday and Friday. There are going to be about 20 questions on that assignment, and you just need to choose 5 of them to respond to in the answer space. All right. The only assignment that is coming up this week is voice and choice number 4. We've gone through our learning targets. Our assessment for this week is voice and choice number 4 that's due on Friday. The literature and informational lesson for this lesson today and on Thursday and Friday are aimed at that final project on humanizing language. And we're going to be talking about that kind of as we go through the last project in class as well too, or the last essay. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.